America's farmers and ranchers are enjoying record or near record prices for their cattle, due largely to a drought-reduced herd. Rebuilding the herd will take time, money, and favorable genetics. Nichols Farms of Iowa is the 5th largest seed stock operation in the nation. It's a long-time family operation, but it continues to embrace innovative technologies to produce better beef more efficiently. Market to Market's Laurel Bauer-Bergmeyer reports.
I can't remember a time when we weren't in the cattle business. My mom and dad were married and were tenant farmers in Nebraska, and they made a down payment on a farm in Adair County, Iowa when I was moved to Adair County when I was about a year and a half old, and I always remember Dad was a cattle feeder.
20 years ago, Market to Market introduced viewers to Nichols Farms in west central Iowa. A lot has changed over the past 2 decades, but one thing hasn't. Dave Nichols of Bridgewater, Iowa still has the wisdom of a cattle feeder and the spirit of an entrepreneur.
I think if you were to characterize Dave Nichols and Nichols Farms, as my dad once told me, he says, Dave, no more people see if you're a mile ahead of the parade than if you're a mile behind it. And I said, Dad, that's true, but I'm a mile ahead. I get to see the drum majorettes and the band and the flag. If you're a mile behind, you get to see a bunch of old guys picking up horse manure from the local saddle club.
Nichols Farms is known internationally for its innovative techniques in using genetic and production data from cattle to produce beef more efficiently.
It's a seed stock operation that our core business is a seed stock, and so we raise and sell lots of bulls, and we're currently the 5th largest seed stock operation in the country that's grown from very modest beginnings. And my dad's motto, I remember my dad has grown wiser every year as I've got older, and his motto was raise all you can, feed all you raise.
What was once a 240-acre farm has now grown into a 5,300-acre family seed stock operation. Nichols attributes his success to rigorous production standards, a willingness to embrace innovations, and aggressive marketing.
We're really unique in the large seed stock operations because all of our capital has been earned from within. We don't own Ford dealerships or anything like that. We've had to generate all our capital from within.
All Nichols bulls have complete performance records, expected progeny differences, or EPDs, ultrasound data, and DNA profiles.
When I scan, what that does is pull that individual bull up in our database. He's already pre-entered in there from weaning time by the EID, but it gives us his visual number, his whole pedigree, his birth date, all the different data that we keep. We keep about 85 different fields of individual data on each individual animal.
Today, nearly 85% of all U.S. Simmental genetics are traced to Nichols bulls. And all bulls in the top 1% of the All-Purpose Index, or API, contain Nichols genetics. Dave credits that track record to a commitment to keep the commercial producer and cattle feeder as a top priority.
We're known as our bulls are raised under the same environments that their cattle are. We don't show cattle, we don't fit cattle, we don't clip heads, we don't trim feet. We expect our cattle to work just as hard as we and our employees do. And so our cattle are known as these cattle. They're also known as cattle that have a lot of performance and grow.
In 2013, Nichols Farms sold over 400 bulls and is on track to do the same this year, including farmer Nick Price of Earlham, Iowa.
What brings me to Nichols now, I believe, is I was looking for consistency in genetics and like a solid cow herd that provides those genetics along with the sires that they put on the cows.
Nichols Farms procedures include artificial insemination of approximately 80% of purebred cows and heifers one time with seed stock from high-accuracy sires. The remaining wet 2-year-olds are bred naturally. To shorten generation interval and make maximum progress, Nichols Farms cleans up with a large number of yearling sires. except for the 2-year-olds, which are bred with a combination of proven and yearling bulls. Nichols sires are determined by an in-house index emphasizing carcass merit per day of age. As for females, all open heifers and cows are culled after a 63-day breeding season. Dry cows never go to pasture, and all females that lose a calf for any reason are culled from the herd. Other culling criteria include soundness of feet, legs, and udders, as well as disposition and performance. Nichols Farms computerized its system as soon as the technology became available. Today, its database contains more than 70 fields of data on each animal. To meet its production protocols, Nichols Farms embraces virtually every technology available, including ultrasound and genomics, and the operation has participated in over 20 research projects with land-grant universities.
He's a leader in adapting new things, and the techniques and the technology that I see them do are really creative and on the cutting edge and the forefront. And I think we're lucky to have such an innovator in Iowa representing the beef industry and see how he impacts the industry throughout the nation.
With a cattle feeder's perspective and a commitment to better beef that benefits not just Nichols Farms but the whole industry, Dave has had a deep-seated conviction to scientifically identify superior carcass genetics.
And I think what Nichols Farms offers to the consumer is a higher quality beef, a leaner product, but still with the marbling that we want for taste. And they also offer consistency, so that when I go to the grocery store or I go to the restaurant and I order a steak, I get a great tasting steak every time I order it. So you add that consistency. And I think that's what Nichols Farm is all about.
Nichols Farms genetics extend well beyond the United States. They've exported live cattle, embryos, and semen to 30 countries. And after 50 years in the cattle business, Dave has no intention of slowing down.
The reason we expand is part of my DNA, and I can't help it. Part of the reason, though, the main reason is if you really want to make improvement when you're improving cattle or hogs or anything, it requires numbers. And if, in our case here, just in our Iowa division here, we have 600 bulls born each year, and we're going to pick out the 10 of them that's best. If we had 100 cows, we wouldn't have that many to pick out of. And so if you want your son to be a Rhodes Scholar that makes it into the NFL, you probably better find out a way to have 1,000 kids.
You can watch this story on Nichols Farms at the Farmweek website, farmweek.msucares.com. You can also watch Farmweek stories on YouTube and Facebook, and we will have a link to the Market to Market website where you can see the story as well as read the script. Again, farmweek.msucares.com.